Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to make a fancy cutting board. This can be made out of some maple, some walnut, and some cherry. Hey guys, in today's video I will be teaching you how to make a cutting board out of some maple and some walnut. Why am I making them out of maple and walnut? Preferred, you always want to use cherry, maple, or walnut. Those are three hardwoods that have closed grain. And what do I mean by grain? It's just all these lines you see. If you look at it closely, they're compacted together. As in other wood that you may look at, there's little grooves and little spaces in between there, kind of like our pores on our nose. Why is it important that we use closed grain hardwoods? Well, it's important because once we go into the open grain, wider grain hardwoods, that allows for more bacteria and food to start getting in there and accumulating over time. And that just makes your cutting boards yucky and can lead to them separating or popping. So yeah guys, all you need is a couple boards that you can get at your local mill or hardwood selling stores. I prefer maple and walnut just because it gives it that big contrast between dark and light colors. And you don't need brand new slabs. You can make them out of your scraps laying around. You may have some in the shop. And if this is your first time attempting to make a cutting board, come along with me and I'm gonna walk you step by step as a beginner. The easiest way, I'm not gonna try to confuse you on this tutorial, how to make a cutting board. Let's get to it, guys. All right guys, so step number one to making our cutting board is coming over here to our miter saw and cutting our walnut board or our maple board to the length of our cutting board that we may want. So we come over here and I'm gonna do a 12 by 17.5 for this demonstration. And actually this order's for a very good client, one of my uncles. So yeah, I'm putting extra love and extra fashion into this board because it's for a family member. But yeah guys, let's get to it. I'm gonna be doing a 17.5. So you just mark it on your board as so. Shout out to my father-in-law for the hat. It gives me a great place to keep my pencil so I don't lose it. And then like always, you just come to your miter saw and you get to cutting. I'll get back to y'all after I'm done cutting my boards and then we'll go on to the next step. Let's get it, guys. All right guys, after we cut up our boards on the miter saw to length, we're gonna go ahead and transition over to our table saw. You may be wondering, why do you only have 3 slabs with you? I've already pre-cut some slabs and some wood up prior to the video, prior to recording, just so I can save myself some time and I can bring y'all a great quality video. So yeah guys, do not worry, you should have more slabs than this. All right guys, so step number 2 is coming to our table saw and cutting our boards to width. What does this do for us? This allows us to determine the height or the depth of the board that we are looking to get. My uncle wants a 1 3/4 cutting board for his big meat. Pause. For his big cuts of meat, for his barbecue, and all that good stuff. His big butcher knives. So the way we do this is we take our boards and we determine the height that we want on our cutting board. For example, he wants a 1 3/4 cutting board. So I went ahead and cut my pieces of wood to 1 7/8. If he wants a 1 3/4 board, why did I cut them to 1 7/8? Remember guys, once we run it through our planer, we're gonna lose a little bit of material in thickness. So you always wanna go up and 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch higher so you don't lose the actual thickness that you want on your board. So yeah, as you can see, I've already cut some sticks beforehand before recording the video, but I'm gonna walk you guys through how to cut a big slab that you may have that you're working with. So let's get it guys. We come to the table saw and we adjust the width of our cut. So I wanted 1 7/8 because I'm gonna lose a little bit of material, which in reality I want my board to be 1 3/4. So we come to 1 7/8, we set our stop and we get to cutting guys. All right guys, so third step, arguably the best step and the funnest part of this project is the glue up. Now that we've cut all our sticks to size and our depth that we want, we come over here and we get our bar clamps and we want to make our pattern. Whatever you decide that you want on your cutting board is what you're gonna glue it up as. For this glue up, I'll be using Tide Bond Ultimate water resistant glue. You want to make sure it's waterproof because you don't want it to go bad once you put some water in it, once you wash it, and you will be washing this board. So yeah guys, you want to use Tide Bond, the green one. The green one is the easiest way to remember it. And I have myself a little brush just to make it easier for myself to spread the glue. So let's get to the glue up, guys. Alright guys, so I'm all done gluing up and putting together my cutting board, and like I said, this is kind of a fun stage because you can kind of preview the look of your cutting board before it's even done. We're gonna let this dry for 24 hours and we'll be back to finish the video. All we got left to do is plane it, route it, put a juice groove on it if you want, sand it, and then put some oil on it, and then you'll have your cutting board. So yeah guys, let's let it dry overnight, 24 hours, and then we'll come back to the video and we'll finish this cutting board.
One eternity later.
So it's been 24 hours and our glue is all dried up. We got our cutting board here. We're about to begin the process of taking off the clamps, chiseling off some glue before we throw it in our planer so it doesn't chew up our blades, and then we'll be right with y'all. Alright guys, so I got my board all chiseled up. Let's go ahead and move forward and go to the planer. Alright guys, so now we have our board and we have our planer. What you want to do is set your height to the thickness of the board, that's initial thickness. So what I have here is 1/7/8 again, because we want a 1/3 and we know that it's going to chop off some of the material. So initially you want to do a 1/7/8 just to kind of get into the board and slowly start shaving away that material. You don't want to go straight to the 1/3 because then you're not going to leave space for the other side to be able to shave, and then your board might explode in the planer. So you want to start off little by little, maybe half a turn and half a turn each time, each pass. So yeah guys, let's get to it. Guys, now that we got the board all planed up, we're gonna come to our miter saw and cut these edges square. A lot of people do this on the table saw because it's easier, it comes a better outcome. I take my miter saw and I have no problem with it, so I'm gonna just do it. And yeah guys, we'll get back to the video in a bit. Now we're ready to start sanding. What I usually do is I follow the following pattern. I do 80, 120, 180, and then water pop it. What does water popping mean? It just means you will add some water to your board. And again, like I had mentioned earlier, this board has pores, it's called grain, kind of like the ones we have on our nose. And once we get them wet and once we get the wood wet, it tends to open up those pores and pop the grain a little bit. And we want to go ahead and re-sand the board up just to get all those nice grooves and everything. It'll simulate kind of us washing the board and your meat juices getting on here. So yeah guys, so 80, 120, 180, water pop, and then again 80, 120, 180, and then finally 220. I usually wait to route my edges and make my juice grooves until I do my sanding, just because it's easier to get a nicer finished product and a nicer sanding after you water pop it. So yeah guys, let's get to it. I'm gonna be sanding my board with my brand new Festo. If you haven't checked that video out, it's the last video posted this week. Go check it out. It's very entertaining and very informative, I would say so in a way. But yeah guys, let's get to it and I'll see y'all back here in a bit. Thing I forgot to mention, to make sure that you're sanding, maybe sometimes you're confused on how much do I sand, how do I know when sanding is good, how do I know when sanding is right. What I like to follow is this trick that I've learned over my career as a woodworker, if you must say, is take a pencil and kind of draw some lines on your board, and you sand it until you can't see those lines anymore. And that's kind of your guide and your lines to kind of sand until you can't see them anymore. So yeah guys, that's the way I do it, and that's the way I know when it's right. Do whatever works best for you, but that's kind of a tip and a trick for y'all. Alright guys, so I've finished sanding my first pass, which is the 80, 120 and 180 dry. I'm gonna go ahead and route my edges and my juice groove, and then I'm gonna continue to water pop, and then continue again to 80, 120, 180, and 220. So yeah guys, let's do that real quick. All right guys, and for my juice groove, I'm gonna be using my DeWalt plunge router, and I'm gonna be using one of these straight edge scrap pieces of wood I have. They do sell a juice groove jig, but I haven't gotten my hands on it, so this is the best I have, and this is what we're gonna make it happen with. All you're gonna need is a scrap piece of wood, preferably a bit straight, that you know it's straight, and 2 clamps, and all we're gonna do is set a guide to however deep in we want the juice groove to be, and vice versa, and we're going to take it step by step. You do need a plunge router to make it easier on yourself, so you can plunge and go rather than dancing around with the normal set base router. So yeah guys, I'll teach you how to do that real quick, and we'll continue with the video. So let's get it. So this is what I came up with, just a straight edge kind of measure around where you want your line to be, and then way down on the ends. I know it's so redneck, so DIY, but yeah guys, that's how I'm gonna create my juice groove. Alright guys, so we're finally done with our sanding. Your board should be so smooth. This is my board. Super smooth, super pretty. All we got left to do is put our oil, smudge it on there, and then we got our cutting board, guys. So let's get to it. For my finish, I use Howard's orange and beeswax. I get this at my Lowe's, Rockler, Woodcrafts, anywhere. You can grab this oil anywhere, as well as you can use walnut oil, walrus oil. Everybody uses their own thing, you know. There's no right or wrong answer on what you can and can't use. But yeah, guys, I want to make sure we get in there every crevice. And what I usually do is I hit this, I let it sit for 15 minutes, and then I come back and I wipe off all the excess, and then I'll do a light coat with a rag, and I'll just spread it around, and then that'll be my coat. And then, depending on if my client is closed or if it's a shipment, a week later, I'll come back and I'll give it another light rag. But yeah, you can kind of start seeing the preview of how our cutting board is gonna look with this. All that's left to do is wait 15 minutes, come back, pat it dry, and you should have your cutting board, guys.
A few moments later.
Well guys, here's our finished product, right in its home. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, subscribe if y'all want to see more videos like this. I hope this really helped some of y'all, the beginners. This is a masterpiece and it's super duper easy, just how y'all saw that I made it. Super easy, just 4 easy steps. You do require some tools, but look at this outcome. It's super, super beautiful. Perfect for gifts and or sell. Check it out, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time.
They call me Chicken Little, I was playing with the bands. It's starting to feel too heavy, all the rings that's on my hand.